What's up, guys? Today's a special day. I got myself a new motorcycle. Well, new to me. We'll go over why I sold the KLR, what this thing is, and what bikes I have left. So stick around. So the KLR is gone. Today's Monday and I sold her on Friday. It was a sad day. I owned that bike for about a year. So I owned the KLR for 1 year and I put on about 6,000 miles on it. Having owned a bunch of other bikes during that time, to put 6,000 miles on one bike for me is a lot of miles, because during that time I probably owned another 4 different types of bikes. So the KLR was bike number 18 for me. And during that time, I bought and sold up to bike 23. So I had 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I had 5 bikes while I owned the KLR, which kind of shows how much I liked that bike. I originally bought it thinking I was going to be able to ride to Alaska with it. And that's why I built the setup that I did. But life kind of got in the way. I ended up buying a house and my priorities changed and things just changed for me. I wasn't really focusing on that anymore. And when I first bought the KLR, I got it for, in my previous video, I said about $2,800. I did a lot of modifications to it, a few that you saw in video, a bunch that you didn't, but I added the panniers, a top rack, a top box, the brakes, the crash bars, the upgraded windshield. So I did all these mods and I ended up making money on it. I sold the bike for $3,500 to this awesome guy that's gonna really enjoy it. I'm in Southern California and he's gonna ride that bike to New Mexico, and he has I think a ranch out there, and it's gonna be his grocery getter. So that bike is gonna have a good old life with his new owner. So I feel pretty good about where it's going. In my time buying and selling motorcycles, this is number 24 for me now. I've sold a lot of bikes to people that didn't feel good. My worst one is I had a Daytona 675. I sold it to this 19-year-old, 20-year-old, and I was like, that didn't feel good selling him the bike. And it turns out my intuition was right, because he ended up crashing it a week later. Thank goodness he's okay, but sometimes you sell these bikes and you don't feel that great about the buyer. At the end of the day, it's America. He has all the right to ride it however he wants it. It's his bike. But a part of me feels good about this one. So KLR is going to a good owner. It's gonna have a good life on the farm, man. It's kind of like a dog story. So my KLR is gonna live a good life on the farm in New Mexico. It's gonna have dirt under its tires most of its life. So I feel good. I sold the bike, I did it, it's out of here. I miss it dearly, but it's good. I made money on it. When I can, I try to make money on my motorcycles. So it's a success. I owned it for a year, I rode it for 6,000 miles, and I made money, including my modifications. So overall, I added value to the bike, to an owner that's gonna use it for what it is. And that's, to me, an ideal motorcycle transaction. So I felt good about the sale, but was there anything about the bike that made me want to sell it? I love that bike in the dirt and in the city, but I really struggled when it was time to use it for what I wanted, which is a touring bike, a touring adventure bike. When I did ride that bike for what I wanted it for, I would do 80% highway and a little bit of dirt, and that dirt wasn't incredibly difficult. It's fire trails, a little bit of sand. And essentially, when I had the full panniers on there with 50 pounds or whatever of camping gear, it doesn't feel good on the freeway. And I would always worry about pushing it. And I knew it had those weaknesses. So fundamentally, I knew it wasn't the right fit, even though I really enjoyed it dearly in the city, commuting to work, in the dirt. But when there's a weakness in its armor, it makes it easier to sell. And that's why I'm so glad to hear that it's going to that buyer who's going to put it to its use, which is purely off-road, getting groceries for him in his like farm out in New Mexico. So that it's the right bike for the right guy at the right place. It wasn't quite right for me. Is it a bad bike? No, absolutely not. But as I'm mentioning to you, it just wasn't in the right place. Which brings us to this thing. So I've got $3,500 burning in my pocket and I gotta put it to something. I can't really stand that long without getting a new bike, so I took that money and I got myself a Triumph Tiger 1050. So this is a 2007, it's a 1050cc triple motor, so it's the same as the Speed Triple. There's this Triumph Street Triple and the Triumph Speed Triple. I've owned the Daytona 765, which is the same engine essentially as the Street Triple. But let's not get too much into what this bike is, because there'll be a good amount of videos dedicated to this motorcycle, how I got it, why I bought it, all of that. But just want to show you guys my new bike. It's a little bit of high mileage, but you'll see a few videos on how to confront and address a bike with a little bit higher mileage. There's a few things that could be improved on it, and we'll go through all those videos as well. So for now, check it out. My Triumph Tiger 1050. Pretty good, not a single dent, scratch, and you'll see all of that in my next video, okay? So after all that, here is what's left in my garage. I've got the Triumph Tiger 1050, my new baby. I still have my long time, feels like forever project, my Yamaha XS850, also a triple, so I've got 2 triples now. So far on this bike, I've got the hoop closed up in the back. I'm redoing all the wiring harness. All the controls up there's changed, so it's moving along. It feels like forever now. And my Aprilia Shiver 750. That bike's mostly okay. It's mostly good. So that's what's left in the garage. Aprilia, Yamaha Cafe, and my Triumph Tiger. So that's my garage. That's my update for today. And stay tuned to a whole bunch of videos about this bike and getting my other bikes going. See ya.